So I want to start with a glitch, not a computer glitch, but a glitch in the landscape.
Okay.
Imagine you're walking through a tropical city. It's hot, the air is thick, you're probably sweating just standing there. And then bam, right in front of you is this explosion of yellow and red that has absolutely no business being there.
It's a complete sensory contradiction.
Yeah.
You're looking at something that says, I don't know, cool, crisp autumn, but your body is feeling sweaty, tropical February. It doesn't compute.
Exactly. And that contradiction is the spark for today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We were looking at a blog post from qianmeng.org. It's dated just yesterday, February 10th, 2026.
And the title is Notes on Gardening, Part 803, The Vibrant Pompon Chrysanthemum Chispa.
Part 803. I just love that we're jumping in at Part 803.
I mean,
That is not a hobby. That's a lifestyle. That is a level of commitment that, frankly, scares me a little bit.
it really is. And to understand the specific flower and why it's such a fascinating case study, you have to understand the person who's looking at it. The author, Ang, he describes himself in the sidebar as an old software plumber.
Software plumber. I actually stopped on that for a minute. It's not software architect or, digital ninja.
No.
It's a plumber. It suggests getting your hands dirty in the messy pipes of the code.
And he's specific, too. He mentions Free Libre and open source software, or FLOSS. And if you know that world, you know it's built on this very specific philosophy of transparency, endless tweaking, and this is the most important part, logging your errors. You don't just fix the leak. You document why the pipe burst so no one else has to deal with it again.
And today, we're going to see what happens when you take that really rigorous debug the system mindset and you apply it to a living, breathing, and pretty stubborn chrysanthemum. We're going to break down the Chispa variety, the brutal reality of USDA climate zones, and really the incredible discipline of documenting 15 years of tinkering with. Well, with everything from fish to Haskell programming.
It is a masterclass in observation. It's about how we see the world, not just, how we garden.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's February 2026. The author calls it the festive season.
Right. So in that region, and we can guess it's Southeast Asia because he mentions the Cameron Highlands later, this is peak Lunar New Year territory. The streets are just lined with flowers that symbolize things like longevity and wealth.
A total visual assault of color.
Exactly.
And our software plumber, Ang, is out walking. Now, normally when I walk past a flower display, I just think, oh, pretty, or maybe, oh, expensive. But Ang is walking with some baggage.
He is. He writes pretty explicitly that he had decided not to explore this species further. He's carrying data from previous experiments.
He actually notes unsuccessful attempts at cultivating and seeding them last year.
Which is the gardener's version of a known bug.
Right. He's marked this file as corrupt, do not open, do not execute.
He has the crash logs from last year. He knows that running this program again is probably going to result in a system failure.
But then he sees the Chispa, and all that resolve just crumbles, or at least it pauses.
Well, his attention is caught, for sure. And you can see why.
Oh, yeah.
He describes it as a unique variety. It's got these double bloom heads.
I'm looking at the description here. It's the color layering that really gets me. He describes the petals as bright sunny yellow on top, but then the underside is this contrasting reddish hue.
It's called a bicolor effect. And because the flower is a pompon shape, that really round full ball, the petals curve inward, so you get this sort of flickering effect of the red peeking out from behind the yellow. It looks like a little firework.
A firework.
Actually, chispa is Spanish for spark, so it fits perfectly.
So visually, it's stunning. It stops him dead in his tracks. But this is where the software plumber brain kicks in. He doesn't just grab his wallet.
No. The average person sees the spark, gets that little dopamine hit, and buys the pot.
Ang sees the spark, gets the dopamine hit, and immediately goes to check the documentation.
He has to pull up the specs. He needs to know if this thing is even compatible with his system.
Exactly. What are the system requirements for this new piece of hardware?
Yeah.
And what he finds is a massive incompatibility.
He cites the research. The Chispa thrives in USDA zones 7 to 9. Now, I know we have listeners all over, and not everyone has the USDA map tattooed on their arm. So what is zones 7 to 9?
So the USDA hardiness zones are all based on the average annual minimum winter temperature. Zone 7 to 9 is basically temperate to subtropical. Think places like maybe Virginia, parts of California, Southern Europe.
Okay, places that get chilly.
Places that have a distinct winter, a dormant period.
And Ang is in the tropics.
Oh, yeah. Deep tropics. Zone 11, maybe even higher. He just says his location has tropical weather. In computer terms, he's trying to run software designed for a liquid-cooled supercomputer on a smartphone that's been left out in the sun. It's a hardware mismatch. But he gets even more specific about why. It's not just it's too hot. It's what he calls the Cameron Highlands factor.
And this is such a key data point. He mentions that to grow these successfully in his region, you usually have to be up in the Cameron Highlands.
That's a highland area in Malaysia, right? Famous for tea and strawberries.
Correct. It's famous for being one of the only places where you can actually wear a sweater. The altitude simulates a higher latitude. And the key variable here is cool night weather. Chrysanthemums are photoperiodic and thermoperiodic. They use the length of the night and that drop in temperature as a signal for their biochemistry to start producing flowers and, maintain root health.
So if the temperature is still, 85 degrees Fahrenheit at 2 in the morning?
The plant gets confused. It just burns through all its energy reserves. It stresses out. It effectively overheats. It's like running a CPU at 100% usage without a fan.
And eventually, it melts down.
It melts down.
And this leads to the part of the blog post that actually made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Because he identifies a workaround. There's a patch for this bug.
The extreme solution.
He says, and I'm quoting here, unless you manually bring them into an air-conditioned room at night.
It's just absurd, isn't it?
I have this mental image of this guy, this old software plumber, tucking a pot of chrysanthemums into bed next to him. Maybe reading it a story while the AC hums. Good night, Chispa.
But look at the logic. He has debugged the error.
He has.
Error. Plant dies. Cause. Night temperature too high. Fix. Artificial climate control.
And the cost of that fix. Carrying pots of dirt through your house twice a day.
For months. And the electricity bill. Running the AC all night for a flower. So the patch is technically possible, but the resource cost is just way too high. He decides not to deploy.
But this totally validates his failure from last year. He says, this confirms why my previous efforts did not yield the result I had hoped for.
And that is such a crucial moment. He realizes it wasn't a user error. He didn't overwater it. He didn't use the wrong fertilizer. The system parameters were just wrong from the start.
It's so comforting, isn't it, to know that you didn't kill the plant, that geography did.
It takes the emotion out of the failure. That's what data does. It turns a personal failure into a simple data point.
Okay, I want to zoom out from the flower for a second, because if we just stop at don't grow mums in the tropics, we're missing the much bigger picture of keyandbang.org.
For sure.
We said this is part 803 of the gardening notes.
Part 803, and that is just one category.
I was scrolling through the sidebar that's referenced in the source material.
It's exhaustive. It's like looking into someone's brain.
Exhaustive is the right word. He's got notes on fish keeping.
Part 193, regarding the spotted knifejaw.
Which is a notoriously difficult marine fish, by the way. He's not keeping goldfish. He's keeping complex biological systems.
And then there's notes on Haskell programming. Haskell? I mean, that's a functional programming language known for being incredibly strict mathematical. It's really hard to learn, not something you just pick up.
And then we've got notes on photography, dieting, guitar, AI, and spawn logs for betta fish.
The spawn logs fascinate me. That means he's breeding them. That requires tracking genetics, water chemistry, fry survival rates. It's biology and data entry all rolled into one.
It feels like he treats his whole life as an operating system that needs to be managed and documented.
I think that's exactly it. The software plumber thing isn't just a job title, it's a whole worldview.
Right.
In the open source world, if you solve a problem but you don't document it, you haven't really solved it, you've just bypassed it. By writing Notes on Gardening, Part 803, he is committing the solution to the database for everyone.
Do you see a connection between, say, the Haskell programming and the gardening? I mean, they feel like they're worlds apart. One is pure logic, the other is dirt and bugs.
Oh, they are way closer than you think. Look at the Haskell note mentioned in the sidebar. Part 54, Fixing Type Errors.
Type errors. So that's when you try to put a word where a number should go.
Essentially, yeah. It's when you feed the wrong kind of data into a function. The program rejects it, it crashes. Now look at the Chispa Chrysanthemum.
Oh, it's a type error.
Exactly. He tried to input a temperate zone object into a tropical zone function. The garden threw an error. The plant died.
That is a brilliant way to look at it.
And because he understands type errors in code, he can accept type errors in nature. He doesn't try to force the code to work by yelling at it. He accepts the constraint. He gets that unless he changes the entire environment, the operating system, the code will never run.
It also explains the sheer volume of posts. I saw that in February 2026 alone, he published 30 posts. That's more than one a day.
And the archives go back to 2011. That's 15 years of consistent data entry.
What drives someone to do that? Is it just obsessiveness?
I think it's how he learns. Some people learn by reading, some by listening. Aang learns by logging. He calls himself a plumber who dabbles. There's a real humility in that. He's not writing a textbook called The Ultimate Guide to Chrysanthemums. He's just writing notes.
Notes implies it's a draft. It's never really finished.
Notes gives you permission to be wrong. It gives you permission to pivot. Today it's a red pineapple. Tomorrow it's a spotted knife jaw. It's like a stream of consciousness, but structured like a database. He's externalizing his memory.
I want to go back to the Chispa decision. Because after all this analysis, after admiring the vibrant pompon and the red undersides, he walks away.
He does?
He writes, I decided not to explore this species further.
It's the discipline of the no.
Which is so hard, especially during the festive season. Everything is designed to make you say yes. The colors, the way they set up the nursery, the holiday spirit.
We live in a culture that, conflates appreciation with possession. You see something beautiful and the instinct is, I must own this.
I need this on my shelf. I need this in my yard.
Right. We feel that if we don't own it, we haven't truly experienced it. Aang challenges that. He appreciates it. He says it caught my eye. He even captures it, but he captures it digitally.
With the photograph.
He mentions, as shown in the photo. He took the picture, he identified the species, he wrote the blog post. In a way, he does possess the flower now. He possesses the information, he possesses the essence of it.
But he doesn't have the physical burden of watching it slowly die in the tropical heat.
He gets all the beauty without the entropy. It's highly efficient. It's the software plumber, optimizing his resources again.
I'm thinking about the notes on meditation that are referenced in the sidebar.
Oh, absolutely.
You think that's playing a role here?
100%. I mean, what is meditation if not observing an urge, I want to buy this flower, acknowledging it, and then just letting it pass without acting on it?
I see the flower. The flower's pretty, the flower's incompatible. I walk away.
It is a very Zen approach to gardening and to consumerism, really. The whole commercial nursery industry relies on people not doing this research. They rely on that impulse.
Oh, totally. They call them annuals, but in the wrong zone, they're basically weeklies.
Or as I like to call them, cut flowers with roots.
Ouch. But that's so accurate.
Aang sees through all the marketing. He sees the biology. And because he has his notes, he has this shield against the impulse buy. He knows that beauty is not a guarantee of survival.
So he goes home, empty-handed but well-informed.
And he sits down and writes, Dear Interweb.
I love that greeting. Dear Interweb. It is so old school. Reminds me of the early days of blogging.
It is, but it signals his intent. He's broadcasting this signal. And why? Not for money. There are no ads or sponsorships mentioned. He's doing it because in the open source ethos, information wants to be free.
He's contributing to the global wiki of gardening.
Exactly. Maybe there's another gardener in Singapore or Bangkok or Manila who's standing in front of a chispa right now, phone in hand, Googling Chrysanthemum Chispa tropics.
And they find part 803.
And they save $20 in a month of heartbreak. Aang has patched the bug for them.
That's a really nice way to think about it. We usually think of influencers telling us what to buy. He's an influencer telling us what not to buy.
Because negative results are still results. In science, knowing what doesn't work is just as valuable as knowing what does. If you don't publish your failures, everyone else is doomed to repeat them.
Yeah.
By sharing this, he improves the efficiency of the entire system.
So what is the takeaway here for us? We've looked at a pretty flower, we've analyzed some climate data, and psychoanalyzed a software plumber.
I think the big takeaway is the power of the log.
The logs.
You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a gardener. But are you documenting your own experiments? When you try a new diet, that's a system test. When you try a new productivity method, that's a software update.
And when it fails, do you just say, oh, I suck? Or do you look for the type error?
Exactly. If Aang hadn't written down his failures from last year, he might have blamed himself. He might have thought, well, maybe I just need to water it more. But because he had the data, he could identify the external variable, the climate. He could separate his own skill from the environmental constraints.
It stops you from making the same mistake twice. It helps you build a manual for your own life.
And it helps you appreciate things where they are. The chispas is beautiful in the photo. It's beautiful in Zone 7. It doesn't need to be in Aang's living room to be valid.
I really like that. Efficiency isn't just about speed, it's about fit. It's about knowing which zone you're in.
And having the humility to admit when a project is just a tropical chrysanthemum.
A project that looks good, but just won't root.
Precisely.
Mhm.
Sometimes the best move is to take a picture, admire the colors, and just walk away.
Well, we've gone from the yellow and red petals of a festive flower all the way to the philosophy of open source living. It's amazing what you can find in a single blog post if you look hard enough.
It's a deep journey for a short read.
So here's a question for you to mull over as you go about your day. Aang found the bug in his gardening, the missing cool nights.
Mhm.
So I want you to think, what is the hidden variable in your life right now?
That's the question.
Is there a project or a goal that just keeps failing, not because you aren't trying hard enough, but because maybe you're trying to grow a Zone 7 idea in a tropical zone reality? And more importantly, do you have the notes to prove it?
Check your logs.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.